Hello again. Welcome to another Fresh from the Theater review. I just got back from seeing Birds of Prey. Just to make it clear before I jump into this review, I am not the biggest comic book reader, so I don't know a ton about the Birds of Prey team, so I'm going to be reviewing this just as a film goer, reviewing the film as its own, rather than an adaptation of the comic book storylines that it might be based on. And as a film, I really fucking like this movie. It was, like, I saw Suicide Squad a few years ago, and I thought that was really dumb. Suicide Squad was really fucking dumb, but a blast, and it had Will Smith. And Birds of Prey, it was better than Suicide Squad. It's still really silly, but it's very self-aware in how silly it can get, and it still manages to have some meaningful, dramatic moments, some really intense stuff. And Margot Robbie, I thought she was a bit annoying, over the top in Suicide Squad, but Harley Quinn has always kind of been an annoying, over the top character. Here, I think the character was handled a lot better. I think she was a lot better well written, and this whole film, like Suicide Squad, really relied on Will Smith's performance. This film really relies on Margot Robbie, and she carries this film fantastically. She has a more toughed up version, more, as the title says, emancipated version of Harley Quinn, and she's also, throughout the film, giving narration, and in a few scenes breaks the fourth wall, looking directly at the camera, either to give more narration or make a joke. And while watching this film, it kind of reminded me of Deadpool in a way, and that's the best thing I can compare it to. People said that Suicide Squad was trying to be the DC version of Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, if that was the case, then Birds of Prey is the DC version of Deadpool. Very over the top, but still has some pretty good dramatic moments, and is very self-aware in how over the top it can get at times, and pokes fun at cliches in both superhero and cop dramas. They even have a character who is, like I said, a very self-aware cop cliche. And Margot Robbie, her performance, I thought, was incredible. She was really over the top in the way Harley Quinn should be, but in the blink of an eye, she could get serious, she could have pain, emotion overcome her. In those moments that just come out of nowhere, I immediately felt sympathy and also understanding of her, and she really wanted to make this film. Margot Robbie really wanted to do a Harley Quinn movie, and you can tell there was a lot of passion put into this performance and the film. She gave it everything, and the plot is a bit all over the place, but like a lot of really all over the place, self-aware, goofy movies like Deadpool and, going way back, Big Trouble in Little China, it's really handled well, and they really make it work. The whole cast is, for the most part, pretty good. Everybody really gives it their all, with the exception of one actress that I'll get into a little later, and the writing is pretty solid. It's done by Christina Hodson, who previously wrote the well-acclaimed Bumblebee Transformers movie. And the director is this woman named Kathy Yan, who I'm not familiar with her other stuff. I checked, and before this she'd only really done short films and one, I think, foreign language movie. Maybe I'm wrong, but I couldn't find much about it. And the writing, directing is reasonably solid. The directing's a little more solid. There are some parts of the story that, like I said, go a little over the place, but for the most part it's handled well, and there's a couple of characters that could have used a little more development, but it was pretty well handled, and this film knows it's ridiculous, and if you know that, you just go along with it. And also, this is after Joker, which is its own movie. This is the first official film in the DCEU where it's rated R, and they own the R rating in this film. They go all out. There's fucks being thrown here and there. Really over the top gore. The violence is just fucking excellent, and there are so many fun fucking sequences, so many great action scenes. The best one, in my opinion, is where Harley Quinn and the birds of prey of the title have an action scene in a fun house, and we see them going down this slide tube, and it looks just like something out of Galaxy of Terror. It's so cool. And we get the Hall of Mirrors. Everyone's going all over the place, and as they're fighting the bad guys, well, the other bad guys, we hear Barracuda by Heart playing, and that's a great fucking song. So it was cool to hear that appear. And we get a pretty elaborate and well shot fight scene in a jail cell where Harley Quinn fights a bunch of guys in a jail who the doors have been open, and she has to take them out one by one. And then we get an equally good, like, the style in this film is really the main draw. This is a film that has a lot of style, but a lot of heart as well. The development of certain parts is a little up in the air, for lack of a better term, but it's a fun film. And once again, I'm just repeating myself, but last time I'll say this. Unlike Suicide Squad, this film has a lot of thought put into it, and it comes out much more even than that movie ever did. The plot is, as the trailers point out, Harley Quinn and the Joker have broken up, and she's decided to break away from him completely, be her own woman, and I think a lot of people have wanted to see this for a long time with Harley Quinn, and we get a lot of good sequences of her establishing that she's on her own now, and decides to make it known that she and the Joker really are through, which, as she admits, may not be the smartest thing, because now people don't have to be afraid of the Joker coming after them. So she, in our good scene, she's running for her life, and her main goal is not to stay alive, but to protect her bacon egg sandwich that she bought just before everyone started coming at her. And the fact that she gets so heartbroken when the sandwich gets ruined, it just really spells out the character. It shows where her priorities and where her personality are. It almost seems like she's gonna be butchered by this film's main villain, the Black Mask, who goes by the name, like, that's his villain name, but his name is Roman Sionis, played by Ewan McGregor. And Ewan McGregor, as the main villain of Birds of Prey, there's a few moments where he's a little too stupid, but he owns his part just as much as Margot Robbie owns Harley Quinn, and you can tell Ewan McGregor, he's having a goddamn blast. He's just loving every second playing this character, who can range from jittery, goofy, to pretty threatening, and legitimately, like, you legitimately feel a little nervous when he threatens certain characters. And he's just obsessed with taking full control of Gotham from the last remaining crime bosses, I think. Just saw the film, a little fuzzy on certain parts, but yeah, he's over the top. A few retarded moments, but like Lo Pan from Big Trouble in Little China, he's a pretty good villain, and the main thing he's after in this film is a diamond that has in it, like deep within it, computer codes, I think, to access this previous crime family that he wiped out years ago, their bank accounts. And the diamond winds up in the hands of this young teenage thief named Cassandra Cain, played by Ella J. Bosco, and Harley Quinn talks her way out of getting killed by going after Cassandra. And I forget where exactly it came in, but there's a moment where, out of nowhere, like, yeah, I remember where it is, when he hits her right before they make the deal. We have this really out of nowhere, but it fits the tone perfectly, where we suddenly get Harley Quinn dressed up as Marilyn Monroe, I believe, and doing a whole musical number that then has machine gun fire, and then she goes after the kid, and the kid has the diamond. She stole it at one point from from Roman's right-hand man, and she swallowed it to avoid the police getting it when they arrested her at one point. Harley Quinn takes her to the store to get laxatives, and she holds up a bottle of Lax and a knife and says, "2 ways we're getting this out." And the kid almost right away grabs the Lax. And so while she's waiting for Cassandra to shit out the diamond, they spend time together, and the scenes of Harley with Cassandra are they're good character building moments for Harley. It shows that she can be friends and connect with someone else in a way that will result in the other person getting it. And the Cassandra character, at first she was just kind of a annoying, chunky Asian kid, but as the film goes on, she starts to get less annoying, and they really have good chemistry. Margot Robbie and Ella Bosco, they really work well together, I think. And while this is going on, we get the other Birds of Prey characters. Black Canary, very popular DC character, played by Janie Smollett-Bell. Renee Montoya, another beloved character, played by Blast from the Past, Rosie fucking Perez. And Helen Bertinelli, whose family originally owned the diamond that everyone's after, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. And Black Canary, she's my second favorite character in this film after Harley Quinn. She has a lot of personality. She's a singer who, after Roman sees that she can kick ass, hires her to be his driver. And she's trying to just make a living. And Cassandra's her neighbor, so she cares, helps her out a little. And she calls Renee Montoya, a detective who's been fucked over by her ex-partner, who made a captain while she didn't get any credit. She calls her to try and help Cassandra, and this all culminates in all the birds coming together with Harley Quinn. And Renee Montoya, she's a little stiff at times, but they make it clear she is a parody of, this version of the character is a parody of 80s cop cliches, and even she's self-aware of it. And they all kind of, they get their moments. The only character of the main character in Birds of Prey who I wouldn't say I didn't like, she didn't have much of an impression to give, was Huntress, the alias that Bertinelli uses. She, we get her backstory. Her family was massacred right in front of her, and she almost got killed, but a goon working for the bad guys back then saw that she lived, and I guess because she was a little kid, took pity on her and moved her to safety, and his family kind of adopted her. And raised her, trained her to be a killer. So now she's back, wiping out, and we see early in the film and throughout, leading up to the big meet together, that she's been killing all of Sinus's associates, doing so with a crossbow, and she keeps trying to introduce herself as the Huntress. And everybody around just knows her as, they keep calling her the Crossbow Killer, which she finds annoying, and whenever someone meets her, she'll try to be like, they call me the Huntress. And it's clear no one has ever heard of her before who meets her has ever heard of her before she introduces herself. We get this funny scene of her practicing, going in the mirror. Do you know who I am? I'm the Huntress. They call me, and that was a funny scene, but overall, this was the character, like, even though we got her backstory, she gets the least amount of screen time of all the main characters, and I've seen Mary Elizabeth Winstead give decent performances in other movies, but her delivery here, the way she talks, and I think maybe a little bit of the writing is at fault here as well. This character just feels a bit flat. I mean, she kicks ass, but of everybody, she's the one whose personality was almost non-existent, didn't leave much of an impact. But everyone else, Harley Quinn, Black Canary, Renee Montoya, they were all pretty enjoyable characters, and Cassandra, who started out kind of annoying, grew on me. And Ewan McGregor, once again, and I keep calling him Roman, but Harley Quinn throughout the film keeps jokingly calling him Romy. And as Romy, Ewan McGregor is just a blast of a villain. I'm not sure he's a memorable villain compared to some other super villains of the past, but he's fun for this type of balls to the walls anti-heroine movie. The big finale is them at the funhouse fighting in this amusement park area, and there's a lot of great choreography and set design, editing. It was a solid action film. It's straight up fun. It's not meant to, I feel like, yeah, it has the message of these women getting emancipated, empowered. Basically, it's a really over-the-top R-rated girl power movie, but they remembered to give it a lot of character development and heart as opposed to some other girl power projects. And like I said, with the exception of Huntress, every character pretty much came full circle. Margot Robbie, even if you don't like the other supporting characters, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, I think was more than enough to carry this film. I totally recommend it. I do want to talk about the ending, so from this point on, consider this the spoiler section. And if you don't want to know the ending, stop here and maybe check out the film. If you want to know the rest of my thoughts, come back afterwards. The ending is really well done. After taking out majority of the goons, it comes down to Harley going one-on-one with Romy, as he has Cassandra hostage, and Harley, who had grown close to her, but at one point decided to give her up because that was the deal she made with Romy to stay alive, regrets it and goes to save her and tries her best to not only save her but try to get her forgiveness. And she has only one bullet left, so she gives the big speech about how after Romy tries to taunt her saying, "You need me to survive," she says, "People think they should be afraid of you or the Joker," which, yeah, no shit. And then she goes, I'm Harley fucking Quinn. And then she fires, but turns out it was a statue. And Cassandra is then like, Harley, I got to apologize. I stole something from you. And then she, I don't know if it's her, I think it was her mouth, her finger. She goes, I took your ring. And we cut back to earlier when they were loading up with weapons. And we see that she had a grenade. So, very quickly, she with Harley, shove Romy off this pier they're on, and it's pretty abrupt, but it matches, again, the over-the-top tone. We suddenly see Ewan McGregor from here just explode. Just head, arms, legs fly everywhere, and it's a big blood explosion. It's just... it was Tremors level explosion. It was just hilarious. And afterwards, Harley, the birds, they all get together and have a taco margarita breakfast. And they talk about what's going to happen next, talk about maybe becoming a team. And then Harley and Cassandra split. Because... yeah, Renee's a cop, Black Canary, kind of a anti-heroine, and the Huntress, also an anti-heroine. But Harley, Cassandra, they are criminals, so they go their separate ways, and we see Renee, Huntress, Black Canary becoming the Birds of Prey team, and something that I noticed somebody... one or two talking about, and I'd agree this is a possible criticism, but a good question. Did this film really need to be called Birds of Prey? Should have been marketed as a Birds of Prey movie, because this pretty much, even though the supporting cast did get some decent scenes and development, this was pretty much Harley Quinn's fucking movie, so... I'm not sure the Birds of Prey need to be the first thing in the title. This could have just been Harley Quinn, and it's not too big of a deal for me, but I see where some of the criticism for that is coming from. It just feels like a little mislabeled. But the ending with Harley Quinn and Cassandra together, just all bedazzled, is funny, and we see Harley has a pet hyena that she got earlier in the film, who for a moment we thought might have died, and I was glad they didn't kill the animal off. And her interactions with it are genuinely cute. Film ends, and I know that we're going to see Harley Quinn again in the Suicide Squad movie by James Gunn. Don't know if when or if the Birds of Prey will appear again, but this was a genuinely fun movie. Pretty silly. Didn't have to take everything too seriously. The emancipation message was, I think, well handled. Wasn't too in your face like some projects might do, but it was fun. And Harley Quinn, she became a pretty good character here. A lot more fleshed out than Suicide Squad, and like I said, the self-awareness really helped, made it so you could take her a bit more seriously, and Margot Robbie, she gave a lot of heart to the character here. I wouldn't call this one of my favorite superhero universe set movies, but I'd put it on the same level as, say, Shazam in terms of entertainment. A good balance of comedy, action, a few here and there serious moments that actually made you feel something. And on the 10-star scale, I think I'd give it a 7.5. It was shorter than any of the other DCU movies at an hour and 49 minutes, and ended with a pretty funny, once again, poke at after credit sequences. One last thing I'll say, just because this was something that was kind of bugging me, and I hate to end the video on one more criticism, but this is just something that was kind of going through my head as I watched this. We see in the opening, after this really zany animated opening sequence, that Harley Quinn and the Joker broke up between Suicide Squad and this movie, and she talks about him getting all the credit, like, yeah, being aware that he was not a good boyfriend, and talk about finally breaking away and being her own person, woman. And, well, that is what a lot of people, I believe, would have wanted to see with this character for maybe a while, like to finally get to that breaking point. The relationship between Harley and the Joker and Suicide Squad really didn't match up with the previous versions of the characters' relationship. It wasn't portrayed as being abusive and one-sided. In Suicide Squad, the love was very mutual, and maybe you could see that as this film's way of trying to correct the mistakes of Suicide Squad. I mean, there is a brief flashback to Suicide Squad, and they make a point not to really feature the Joker in it. In fact, I forgot to mention this, the Joker, at least Jared Leto's version, is not in this movie at all. They talk about him, but he's not there. Which is a little weird. He's not even in one scene, but again, this is meant to be Harley Quinn's movie. But back to what I was saying. They talk about her breaking out of a bad relationship, and I guess realizing it was bad, but the relationship we saw in Suicide Squad didn't really seem like the one that they're talking about here. Maybe, I don't know, they're doing the retcon shit, but it was a little confusing. That's my last thing to say, and it was weird to give after the rating thing, but I still stand by that. Very good film, had a blast. Go check it out.